Alright guys, so we have the details for Kitty Kitty Caster or Sparkling Caster, whatever you want to call her. I do want to say before we hop into this, I did make a prediction over here. I'm hoping that I'm correct, right? Buster NP, maybe they're not going to blow us out with the final Ascension art like they did for Lowhigh, but I did also see right before I was hopping into this video, because I go into these videos blind, I like to react and kind of just give my blind thoughts on a servant before we actually get into testing them and whatnot. Did see that there were some looping demonstrations on YouTube, and they were with Black Grail, and that either means she's a bonker Black Grail's Buster servant, or I'm wrong and she's just going to turn out to be like a quick or art servant. So let's just hop in here. The first thing I like to do is let's just check out the art. Okay, so it's going to be like Bisquion. I don't know, can you guys let me know in the comments down below if you are a fan when they hide the third Ascension art? I'm not a big fan of that sometimes, because I kind of like to get the full idea of the servant, because then I'm like, I don't know if I want to summon for them or not. Let me see the final Ascension. Am seeing triple quick cards over here, so probably not going to be Buster. I might be wrong on that one. I could still be right about the second part of my prediction over there. And by the way, if you hear Thor booling out there, huge thunderstorm going on outside, so forgive me for that, but can't control that. So first skill over here, we are getting 20% for every single card type. We have an on attack, so whenever we use our quick cards, we get 10% NP. That is ridiculously strong. If you've ever used the Dioscuri twins, you know how good that can be. And then whenever we use the arts card, we give ourselves a dodge for one turn. And then if we use the Buster attack, we get sure hit. That's really interesting. So I'm assuming the dodges stack, or they might not, because it doesn't say they're stackable. So that's kind of interesting. So, she has 3 quick cards. So if you're like doing a Brave Chain, you're always guaranteed to be getting at least 10%. If you do a Quick Chain, you're guaranteed to get 30%. That's not too bad. The dodge is kind of interesting. That's kind of neat that you can kind of plan that out. I wonder if it means that she doesn't have any other forms of survivability, but this is not a bad opener skill. The cooldown is only 6 turns as well. This is really cool, okay? I really like this. This is really neat. This would be really cool if she was kind of like Space Ishtar and you could change your card types, but I don't know how good that would be when you have a triple quick deck, unless they're trying to do something really quirky and just turn these quick cards into composite cards, but already off to a really strong start. Reduces skill cooldown for a party member. That is huge. The fact that this is targetable is always going to be huge. That is very, very strong. I have recently found a lot of very strong uses for Koyan Dark, not for cooldown, but because she can give people the overcharge on her, I think it's her second skill, where you could target that on somebody and give them 2 levels of overcharge. So, you know, this might be an interesting servant in some of those setups, because usually I use it to facilitate Ace the Savior, Morgan through, whatever you want to call her. So that could be very interesting. And then it's a 50% battery with Big Star Wave for a turn. Be very huge if that was 50% battery to any one ally, but you know, we could see she might have something crazy going on the NP. Maybe she has swappable NPs. You know, maybe we're gonna get a third Ascension and they're like, all right, here you go, boom, shadow drop another NP for the character, which this is not the same thing, but for the minor, like the Minecraft version of Van Gogh, they did give her a buff mid-event, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of the possibility. I just don't think we should expect it all the time, but not bad. If you're going to use it on herself, you can get the battery back a little bit quicker, and you can get this to be online just a bit quicker. You could actually loop this, no? No, that's not how that works. No, I'm stupid. Ignore me on that one. But okay, not crazy, but not bad. 30% NP damage is humongous. That is really, really strong with Oberon, which I know people are probably tired of hearing like, oh, this character's really good with Oberon, but unfortunately, he's here in the meta. He's just going to be something you have to consider. We have 3 power mods. We have Undead, Alignment Evil, Special Damage Against... So, with buff special damage against Alignment Evil. So that's really weird. I'm assuming that's just anti-evil, and that's not like a double status or something? Because you could see here for like the undead, they don't list it twice. And then Shadow and Servant. So I'm assuming this is probably just evil alignment power mod. I'm assuming that's all that is. So Undead, Evil, and Shadow Servant, well, Say certainly has somebody coming in to compete for best free quest farmer in the game. At least she's a caster, right? But she might also be quick. Undead isn't the craziest, but you will run into this in various free quest farming nodes, you know, like your skeleton dude, so could be worse, surely. And then Evil is Oh, that is the new Phantasmian that came out. So if you've ever tinker around with her, you know, she's got that. Interesting set of skills. Do we have any crazy passives? Hidden lore passive. It's probably divinity because it's giving the damage plus, unless they're going to say it's some special passive divinity. I don't think that's an indication that she could be Ards, because that you could have this on anybody. So quick servant, AoE, NP damage on overcharge. So she has 50% NP damage? That's really high. Apply curse, healing rate down. Remove one last effect when starting. Okay. I'm gonna pull up the chart over here. I want to see if they've put her in yet, and if they haven't, as per usual, your boy's got you covered, and I'll go ahead and I'll do the little calculations. Okay, they don't have her in here, so give me 2.5 seconds. So let me throw this into the calc. And just like that, we're back with the base calculation. So ignore the fact that it says Alice. I just used Alice because she's an AoE caster. We gave her Kitty caster's attack over here. Obviously, it has the foe, so it's going to be at 12,430. And so with the 50% NP damage, because she gets 30% from here, she's getting you know, an additional 20 from here at bare minimum, and then she's getting a 20% quick buff. She's going to be in this average 22 range, which, let's see, that is okay. So that's like Ace's level, but obviously, you know, characters like Haze have things to go for them to kind of like bump up their damage. So for somebody like her, let's just assume we're getting the 50% power mod, because obviously you're probably just going to bring her around to a node that at least has something she can proc on. Bumps her up to 29. So that's going to put her on the average. Okay, well, just having one of those is going to put her pretty high up there. I mean, obviously these characters have special power mods that can beef them up a little bit higher, but it's not bad damage at NP1 if you're just going for one power mod. But I think it's going to come down to how frequently can we proc 2 power mods, because 37, that's not bad at all. Like that's pretty good, but I just wonder if this is translated correctly. You know, like this whole like evil with buff special damage mod against alignment evil. Because when I first saw it, I thought it's like, oh, it's going to be anti-evil. And then if they have like a debuff or something, maybe you get an additional power mod. But that I think would be listed here. It wouldn't just be listed as just base 50%. Now, evil alignment and shadow servant, I do believe you can get. Undead, I don't think there's any undead servants. Right, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have anybody that has those traits, right? Like that's just not something we have. Here, let me go pull up the list real quick. And yeah, we don't have any servants that actually have the undead trait. So there's not going to be any overlap between undead and, you know, shadow servant, but I think you will have these. Now, we have this undead list, and I don't think many of these enemies actually have alignments. Yeah, which is really weird. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they're not at least like neutral or something. If they wanted to be like, oh, well, they're like, you know, faceless zombies. They don't really like have alignments. They don't have morals, right? You know, can't really give them anything. But I think that would be a really nice buff for them. You know, if they wanted to do that in the future. This is a story boss, though. And they still have no alignments. That's a little off. It's a little awkward. Yeah, none for that. What about Christine, right? I mean, she's with Phantom, right? So none of them are really... So we're not really going to get to proc that super often. It's like really good against shadow servants that are evil, right? Like it's really strong against those. But I don't know if this servant is really that crazy, because if you're going to be only really proccing this most of the time, I mean, this is not bad damage. If you're bringing her against, like, again, your evil servants or like, you know, those undead guys in the node, that's not too bad. Obviously, she gets a lot better if you do have Oberon, if that's somebody you're doing, but I mean, we're already kind of fighting an uphill battle here because it's a quick servant. Now, she does have 6 hits, and her NP gain is at 0.8%, so she is rather high, which is why I think I was seeing recommended videos where it was like, oh, it's Kitty caster with Black Grail. That should definitely be something she's easily able to do. But I don't think this is like, oh, if you don't get this servant, you ain't got nothing. You know, you're kind of a sitting duck. Not a bad grand servant target though. apply death chance up. So she gets like insta-kill kind of memes going. The extra 30% ain't too bad. Because if you don't know with the Grand Servants, you can use both their Bond CE and a normal CE. At least we kind of know some of those details. But I don't think this is like a must summon, must grab servant. They're not like that crazy. They're strong for sure, but if you already have like a dedicated, you know, AoE quick servant, like just to kind of pull up the list here and kind of sort these guys through just a little bit, I don't really think she's beating out a lot of these other people. Like if you've already got Voyager, if you got Kazura drop, you got Dante's, you know, you got like Karen, like it's probably better than using Quick Space Ishtar, but that's not a really high bar to beat. You know, Ushi over here can already do Black Rail farming, and in fact, her NP1 damage without a power mod is already really close to what she's able to do. I mean, like, maybe if your main looper is Summer Okita, because she doesn't have like any power mod gimmicks. But then again, she's out damaging Kitty Kitty Caster when she doesn't have any gimmicks. So like the only reason you would want the servant is if you need to fill that gimmick. I'm not really seeing a point here, right? Like maybe if she was able to apply some of these to the allies, like being able to give somebody a cooldown is obviously very, very useful. That's a nice little tech option that she has going for herself. But aside from that, I mean, man, it's a little disappointing because this skill is super cool. This is super dope. Giving your quick cards like a little bit of that like arts card flex, you know, now your arts card can kind of function as survivability. You know, your buster card is giving you a way to get around enemy dodges. Like that's really cool and all. But I don't think this is like, oh, if you don't get this servant, you're really missing out. It really is just another strong, quick AoE servant. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but until they put out somebody that's on the level of Koyenskaya or Koyen Light, you're not really incentivized to go for these characters, especially when, again, like referencing, you know, the quick AoEs we have, if you've already got some of these other guys, you really don't have a reason to go for them. And I know like Alice is like really low down here. Like, you know, I know her damage is looking like really low, but you got to remember that like she's ridiculous going into challenge quests. Like her little bird proc thing, her like own special buff is functionally like solemn defense. Like it's really, really nutty. It's really strong. It's certainly better than one dodge, right? Which, I mean, Caster Scotty already gets memed on because she gives us the entire party on her own NP. So yeah, not really a must summon. You know, I understand that I was really shooting for the hills with this one, being like, oh, it's going to be a Buster NP, but I'm not going to lie. I was really just coping on the fact that it wasn't going to be another quick servant, because we do be getting a lot of these quick servants, and I really don't know what they're going for. I don't know. That seems to be kind of a lot of the more recent servants, although the last couple of servants we got over on JP, you know, were real standout bangers, right? Like Kazura drop kind of makes her own farming system, quote unquote. Low high is really good if you don't have any of the good supports, because 2 low highs can get the job done. And then, you know, you have like Phantasmoon, who's just bonkers on her own. Richard might be like a bit more tame as like a New Year servant, right? Like he's a really strong AoE Buster Saber, but, you know, stop me if you've seen a good AoE Buster Saber, right? Like we have like a dime a dozen of those, you know, there are a lot of them. So yeah, I don't really know. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Maybe I'm missing something, but I really don't think I am with this one. I think she's just a solid, strong option, but I really don't think it really extends much further past that. So you guys can let me know in the comments if you think that I'm just maybe missing something, or if I'm hitting the nail on the head with this one. But yeah, as per usual, if you found the video to be enjoyable, like on the video would be appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you like that daily FGO content grind. I mean, we be up here at what is it, 4 in the morning just to get the details for this character, but gotta make sure we get those videos out every single day for you guys. Don't want you guys to not be in the loop for these things. So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. Late, guys.